All right, this is a review or recommendation for North and South. This is going to be under my Civil War reviews. This was a series of television miniseries that were made back in, I think, 85 and 86. And then part 3, or book 3, came out in 1994. Now, I can't recommend book 3. I don't think book 3 was very good. I think that you could just end it with book 1 and 2 and be completely satisfied. But the series really focuses around two families. The main family, with the lead for that being Patrick Swayze's character, Ori Maine, and then the Hazard family from Pennsylvania, with the lead for that family being James Reed's character here, George Hazard. The families are geographically separated. Ori is from South Carolina, George from Pennsylvania. They are also ideologically separated. And you see kind of like how they both start out as neutral characters and then they become pushed to extreme positions. So you can see how the effect of the families and the media and everything really pushes these guys to ideologically opposite sides where they end up fighting for the North and South. But this doesn't start with the Civil War. It really starts with these two men going to West Point as cadets, meeting each other there, becoming friends. They have a antagonist that they are both, mutually share a disdain for, that they meet there at the academy. And then they end up graduating from West Point, from the academy, and they end up fighting in the Mexican-American War. And then some more time passes. We get the build-up towards the Civil War. And then episode number 6 of book 1 is when the first shots are fired on Fort Sumter. So we don't see any of the Civil War really taking place in the first 6 episodes. And these are all based off of a book. It's an adaptation of John Jake's novels. The second series here, Love and War, really focuses on the Civil War itself and the Hazards and the Maines on opposite sides. Throughout this series, we have a lot of guest actors that pop up. In North and South, which is book 1, Johnny Cash shows up as John Brown, the abolitionist that raided Harper's Ferry. Kirstie Alley plays George Maine's sister, so she's one of the Hazard sisters. We also see John Stockwell pop up in this. You would know him from like John Carpenter's Christine. I don't know what else I've seen him in, but there's quite a few noted celebrities that pop up in this. Robert Mitchum pops up in this series in a cameo in the in the war with Mexico. And let's see, who else was in this? I know Morgan Fairchild was in this. David Carradine plays in a really nasty piece of work. Elizabeth Taylor showed up. Gene Simmons. Hal Holbrook plays President Lincoln. You've got, I'm trying to run down and see who else shows up in this series. I mean, this was a pretty big deal. Olivia de Havilland pops up in miniseries number 2. So you would know her from her work like in, those old Errol Flynn movies. So she's in this. And then, oh boy, I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot. Lloyd Bridges. Lloyd Bridges plays Jefferson Davis, the president of the South. Jonathan Frakes pops some of this. Jonathan Frakes is George's brother. So let me see if you can see him there. Old Commander Riker, right there. And there's Robert Mitchum. You can see him there at the bottom. Then you've got Hal Holbrook right here as Lincoln. Okay. So this is a pretty interesting show. Now, it's melodramatic. It's kind of over the top, and it's kind of like a soap opera. But my wife watched this with me. She really enjoyed it. I thought Patrick Swayze was great. I mean, Patrick Swayze, this might be his finest piece of work acting that I've ever seen him in. I quite like Patrick Swayze. Rest in peace. But this is one that I definitely recommend. It's a great Civil War film, and they even managed to get, look here, they even managed to get George Custer in this movie. If you could see right there, the close-up of Custer. I was really kind of impressed with that, as well. This was, other than part 3, I think part 3 is really pretty bad. It's not terrible, but I don't really like it all that much. And there are a few actors that get recast, but specifically I think the reason why I don't like part 3 all that much is because Patrick Swayze is not in it. And I'm not going to tell you why he's not in it, but he's not. But Philip Kasanoff is throughout. He's in all 3 parts. He plays an antagonist. Jonathan Frakes is in all 3 parts. The one thing I will say about Heaven and Hell, which is the 3rd part, which even though I didn't like it that much, Peter O'Toole is in it, and he's really good. Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian, shows up in part 3. He's really good. And then Rip Torn and Robert Wagner are in part 3. The old Robert Wagner. So it's a really great series. I think it's underrated. If you can find it and stream it somewhere and watch it, I definitely recommend checking it out. I thought it was quite well done and quite enjoyed it. So it is presented in a format that it was a television production, shows the aspect ratio of the film. It is your little square. It's not in letterbox or anything. So be aware of that. But I liked it, and I give it a thumbs up. Part 3, not so much. But those first 2 parts, Book 1 and Book 2, I thought were excellent, and they're probably 2 of the finest television miniseries that were ever made. I mean, I like this a lot more than The Blue and the Gray. All right, thanks for watching. God bless. Have a wonderful day.